Alright, so let's talk about Shadow of the Erdtree, the new DLC for Elden Ring. This DLC took me about a week to complete. I finally have given it time to settle in my mind and give it time to reflect on my experience to see how it compares to the other Souls games DLCs. And I have to say, Shadow of the Erdtree is a phenomenal DLC expansion for Elden Ring. And Elden Ring itself was such an amazing game on its own. I think Shadow of the Erdtree really enhanced the Souls experience or the Elden Ring experience for new players and old players returning to Elden Ring after some time. It's been about, what, 2 years for this DLC to drop, and I wasn't even sure if Elden Ring was even gonna get a DLC. But after this whole wait and the time to experience a DLC, I can honestly say it was so worth it. I do think the price of the DLC was a little high at first for what they were asking for, but I think for the amount of hours of content and just lore and enemies and bosses you fight in the new DLC is so worth the $40 you pay for. Honestly, if FromSoft even asked for a whole, $60 or $70 game price tag as well, it would have been worth, because honestly, Shadow of the Erdtree can even stand alone as its own, miniature game. Maybe not as big as Elden Ring, but definitely as complete and designed as a good video game as Elden Ring was. I think what I loved most about the DLC was the environments. I think this DLC has some of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever seen in any of the Souls games. Now, I'm going to talk about more of what I experienced through the game, not really doing a full comprehensive view on the lore and story. I usually leave that to the more expert people to talk about, what's going on. And the main thing of the story is just following Miquella and finding out what they're doing here in the realm of Shadow. There's a lot of nuance and characters and lore and story that goes into Shadow of the Erdtree, but I'm not going to get into that in this review. I just want to talk about my experience with the DLC and what I thought about it, and talk about the design of it and the greatness that FromSoft created with this DLC. So yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree is a fully fledged expansion for Elden Ring that's a whole new map to explore. It's very vertical. It's a very vertical map. It's very different from the base game of Elden Ring, traveling between the lands between. You'll be doing a lot of scaling up and down between the lands. It's very spread out, not horizontally, but vertically. A lot of mountains, hills, crevices you go in between. You'll be going very deep and also very high. You'll be searching through a lot of the lands and figuring out where the hell you are most of the time, because honestly, this DLC is kind of hard to track where you're at sometimes. There's only one minor complaint about how the game's designed is just how everything's kind of like jumbled up. It's really hard to know where you're going at times, and it can feel like a jumbled mess. But besides that, the areas are very distinct from each other. There's some beautiful looking areas. There's some gorgeous, scenery, foliage, just an ambience and environment that are just so beautiful, and I think some of the best FromSoft has ever created in all of their Souls games. So yeah, so Shadow of the Erdtree will be bringing 70 new weapons, 10 new shields, 39 new talismans, 14 new sorceries, 28 new incantations, 20 new spirit ashes, 25 new ashes of war, and 30 new armor sets and consumables and craftables. So there's a lot of stuff here to digest. There's definitely a good amount of content you can find in here. There's definitely a lot of new weapons and sorceries and incantations and just ashes and just new stuff that you're gonna want to try out and really see what these new weapons are all about, because honestly I think the DLC has some of the best weapons in all of the games, in all of the Souls games, especially in Elden Ring. There's just a lot of new unique stuff like throwable weapons. There's like a shield spear thing that I found, which is very interesting. You don't really see that in Souls games. I don't think that's ever been a thing, like a spear as a shield, but it's really interesting. There's a lot of weird new little like items, weapons, and just things in the game that are just so unique to the DLC, and I think they really added to Elden Ring's distinct identity. And I think there's something in this DLC for everyone. You can always change your build around and see what you like. Yeah, there's a lot of great new stuff in here. One of my favorite things is definitely the Dane's footwork. That's one new unique hand-to-hand combat like weapon thing you can equip. It's really cool. It's basically you just going in with your fists and stuff and going ham. It's pretty sick. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't use it in my playthrough. In my playthrough, I mainly used my Guts Greatsword, my Dragon Slayer Slayer, as you will, and I went full strength. I didn't use bleed or any other, you know, status effect in my build. I wanted just straight raw power in my build, and so I went with my trusted, my loyal greatsword. I used it in the base game, and I used it in Elden Ring's DLC. So yeah, I used it in Shadow of the Erdtree, and I loved it. I had so much fun with it. There were times where I did have to change up my playstyle because there are some bosses in this game that will make you really question what you're doing with your life and what you're doing with your build. And yeah, I'll get into that into a later section. Obviously, the new feature or the new gameplay mechanic of this game is the Shadow Tree fragments and their revered spirit ashes. So you'll be finding these across the map. They're basically like little tree bark things. FromSoft made a system to where your player level really doesn't matter when you enter this DLC. You could be like level 300, you could be level like 80. You'll be on the same level playing field, and I actually really like this system. I think it really makes everything balanced and not give anyone else an advantage with levels or being over leveled for a DLC. That was an issue with the other DLCs FromSoft has made. If you went into them with higher levels and, you know, maxed out gear, they weren't as hard as if you had played them, you know, naturally and going and progressing through the proper levels of a DLC. So yeah, with the more Shadow Tree fragments you basically do more damage, you negate more damage, and it all like is worked off like a percentage in the Shadow realm. They don't really affect your stats out of the realm of Shadow, so it's only for the DLC. And with the Revered Spirit Ashes, they work the same way. You basically will find these items and you'll be going around picking them up just like the Shadow Tree fragments, and they're basically for your summons and your ashes to negate and deal more damage. It's all like a leveling system. The more you have, the more you negate, the more damage you do. And yeah, it's a very interesting system. Definitely the first from FromSoft to do in DLC, and I think it worked pretty good. I think FromSoft really got the outcome they wanted with the system, and preventing players from just steamrolling through the whole entire DLC and making it seem like a piece of cake, because honestly this DLC is not a piece of cake. There's a lot of crazy stuff in here and you will die a lot. I think I died over maybe 100 times, 200 times in my first playthrough, and it was crazy. I was mauling. I'm a big Souls veteran. I played all the Souls games. I love them. They're one of my favorite titles, and yeah, this DLC is tough. It's gonna whoop your ass, so be prepared. Let's talk about combat. Combat has changed a lot in this DLC. Yeah, so there's a lot of new weapons, and especially like new ones you'll collect in the DLC that are just totally different. You got perfume bottles, and they're kind of broken. You can definitely make a crazy build with the perfume bottles. Throwable weapons, you got Messmer spears, one for example. You can literally just chuck it. Yeah, that's a new weapon that you can literally chuck and throw, and has such a crazy moveset. And a lot of the new weapons and arts and ashes are just kind of crazy. Like they really, I thought Elden Ring had such a weird and unique, I guess not weird, but just crazy amount of ashes of war in the base game, where you can really just play around with anything you want, make a build tailored to how you want to play with any weapon you want. And I think it's amazing that that FromSoft even went further in this DLC and made even crazier ashes and crazier weapons to use. And you can also, I mean, obviously you're going to use these in the base game as well, because honestly I want to play with all these weapons in the base game. These weapons are unlike anything you find in the base game of Elden Ring. There are some crazy weapons in the base game of Elden Ring, but they're not as you know, unique and I guess eye-catching as these ones are in this DLC. That's a big plus for me. I really love the new weapons and the new combat options. Obviously the new incantations, the new sorceries, all that. There's a lot of crazy stuff. There's something here for everyone. Everyone gets a thing for their build. So let's say you had like a frenzy type of build, or you had a mage build, a faith build, a strength, you know, dex, everything. There's a weapon here for everyone. Combat is kind of insane in the amount of options you can get in this DLC. It's really cool seeing everyone's build in this DLC being, you know, given some support. I really like that. I really like there's something here for everyone's build, and that's a great achievement from FromSoft side. Even, you know, adding to the already, you know, ginormous catalog of weapons and options and combat choices in the base game. Another thing is the exploration. I loved exploring everything in this DLC. There's just, like I said, it's a lot of verticality. A lot of the areas seem very like convoluted and weird to get to, but once you start exploring areas, you know, it starts clicking. There's not as many catacombs or dungeons in this DLC, which is surprising to me. I guess FromSoft took a little bit of the criticism of that in the base game, where there were so many of them spread out, so they really made them very, very infrequent in this DLC. It kind of takes away from the exploration of Elden Ring, especially in the DLC, but it's okay. I understand why they did it. I just wish there was a little bit more in like the nooks and crannies of areas, because it felt like you would explore like new places and new areas, and then you'll just be exploring like, you know, the sides, like how you would in the base game of Elden Ring, you know, just to find like little nooks and crannies of items you might miss, or just, you know, just little things you could find, like little soul items on the ground. Yeah, it sucks to see that there's not as many as there was in the base game. It's a little bit of a letdown, but I understand why they went that route and made it less populated with items. Yeah, that's my only complaint for the DLC. I wish there was more items to find in the realm of Shadow. I think there could have been, you know, a lot more opportunities to find, you know, little cool things, little hidden things, and there's even like a thing where I found like pots around, like they were hanging pots. Like if you really looked for them, they're very hard to find, but they're in the game. They're like little hanging pots you'll find like across the maps and stuff, and they give like unique items. Like I think I got a cookbook from them, and it's just very, you know, strange off things. So I find it weird that, you know, they had those type of things around the world spread out, but they didn't have like, you know, more dungeons or catacombs to explore. So yeah, it's very different from the base game. I will tell you though, exploring these areas are absolutely gorgeous. There is just some of the best designed areas you will find in all of FromSoft's games. I think they really outdid themselves with the castle designs, the decrepit areas where things look like they've been decaying for centuries. Even like the most beautiful areas like the green area, the Cerulean coast, the red areas as well, the finger area. I actually really enjoyed the finger areas, like the finger ruins of like Rhea and stuff. That's amazing to me. I think my favorite place to really explore was Bayle's area, and he's one of like the bosses you'll find like in like the peaks of like the bottom right corner of the map. Absolutely some of the best stuff you'll find there. I think the area is just beautifully designed. There's like a bunch of lightning going on. There's a bunch of dragons. It looks so cool when you get there. Some of the best designed areas in all of FromSoft's games. Yeah, another favorite area of mine in this DLC was the Abyssal Woods. I absolutely adored exploring this area. I think it's some of the most eerie and just uncomfortable, you know, areas to just be around in the DLC. What I loved about the Abyssal Woods is just the weirdness of it, the more like horror aspect of it. I think what this area really did well was add to the Bloodborne. If you could say there's like a feeling of Bloodborne, it's definitely here, because honestly there's not a lot in this Abyssal Woods area. It's mainly just kind of empty. It's very gloomy. It's just uncomfortable to be in, and also your Torrent doesn't even want to be here. That's another crazy thing when you're exploring. Like Torrent will just be like he'll just be frightened and he won't be able to be summoned, and that just kind of adds to the fear factor, because you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you start going deeper and deeper into the woods. You start getting like some stones on the floor telling you to go back, tread back. There's something here, you know, don't let it see you, you know, stuff like that, giving you eerie cryptic messages. And I think it just really adds to the horror aspect of Elden Ring. In this area there's one return of a really cool Bloodborne enemy, and it was an enemy I actually hated and adored from that game. And yeah, they make a return in the Abyssal Woods, and it's really awesome to see. I didn't think Elden Ring would even bring back something from Bloodborne, because I thought all the Bloodborne content was already used up in the base game of Elden Ring, and that's all we're gonna get. And yeah, I'm still wishing for the Bloodborne port on PC. Maybe one day we'll get it. Probably never, honestly. We'll probably only get it through emulation if we're being serious. But yeah, back to Elden Ring's Abyssal Woods topic. And honestly, it was my favorite enemy encounter to see come back in Elden Ring from, like, you know, Bloodborne. It's not exactly a Winter Lantern, but you know, it basically is. It's the same enemy type. You know, it's like a creature with like a bunch of eyes on its head, and it's just a frenzy looking, you know, freak just waiting for you to attack. It's just crazy, man. It's awesome to see, you know, Bloodborne Winter Lanterns come back. Like, I didn't expect this at all from the DLC. I thought we had already, you know, seen everything we wanted to from Bloodborne, and yeah, it's awesome. I'll take anything more from Bloodborne in this game, so I'm happy to see that. I also loved how they changed the pace of the gameplay as you enter the Abyssal Woods. Like, once you get deeper and deeper into exploring it, you'll see more of a need to be like stealthy. There'll be a section where you actually, you know, see the enemy else talking about the Winter Lantern, and you'll need to actually go into stealth and get into like bushes and hide from it. And it's just so awesome. I didn't think I was gonna be able to actually see a Winter Lantern in this area. Like, it totally flipped me out on the first time I was here. I was like, holy shit, that's actually a Winter Lantern. And yeah, it's awesome. Also, I do think like the area is kind of too large for what it is, but I do get the vibe that FromSoft was trying to get with this area, you know, making it so empty and just, you know, it feels so like hidden from all the other parts. It's so unique. You know, you're deep in this crevice and you're just, you know, trying to find your way in this foggy like forest of just decrepit trees and stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, every area really has some uniqueness to it. There's even underground areas too, and dungeons, and really cool, creepy, and just unique areas to explore it in the Shadow of the Erdtree. So yeah, exploration. Now we gotta talk about difficulty. This game is difficult. Be prepared to die a lot. Like I said, this game probably has some of the worst enemies you will encounter in all of the games, especially from base game Elden Ring. There was already some horrid like enemies that you fought there, but yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree takes it like up a notch, and you'll be fighting some of the most cancerous enemies known to man. Like it's insane. There's like a spinning blades enemy you'll encounter. I don't really know his name, but he basically comes at you with like 2 spinning blades, and he hits you with his feet. He's just a piece of shit. Like he's so tanky too. He's so hard to kill. You counter one very early in like the gravesite plane, I think. And yeah, he's just a piece of shit. I also hated this green knight, or this knight that you fight in like the green area. Yeah, he whooped my ass like 10 times. I really hated him. He killed me like 5 times before I got to like the rot like boss in that area. So I really hated him. He just a piece of shit. I hate that guy. There'll be a lot of just difficult shit you're gonna have to deal with in this game. It is a FromSoft game after all. Shadow of the Erdtree was really getting a lot of hate like in the beginning when it was first released of how difficult the game is. I know they did affect the Shadow Tree blessings and the Rivered Spirit Ashes like scaling like in the patch like a week later. So I played with it like pre-patch and post-patch, and yeah, it did feel a little better after that patch. But yeah, it was pretty brutal at first. It was just so tough to like even get yourself rolling. It was just a lot of shit to go through in this game. It's a typical FromSoft game. You know, you're gonna find some cancerous enemies, you're gonna find some cancerous areas to get through, and yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get to, like, you know, find your way through. You're gonna get lost a lot, so that also adds to the difficulty factor. Sometimes you don't even know where you're supposed to be going. Yeah, you'll easily get lost in this game, just like in the base game of Elden Ring. So yeah, let's talk about the bosses. Yeah, difficulty cannot be discussed without speaking about the bosses of this game. And let me tell you, the first boss you're really gonna encounter is probably the Dancing Lion. That's basically how the game's gonna point you to go fight him. But that's actually not the order I fought the bosses in. I fought actually Rellana first with I think 4 or 3 like Shadow Tree blessings. And I'm not gonna lie guys, I died to her about 30 times. Yeah, 30 times. Absolutely hated her. She was a piece of shit. She's probably the worst boss I have ever versed in all of Elden Ring. I hate her more than Malenia, I'm not gonna lie. There's just something about that boss. Like, I don't think she's harder than Malenia. I just think she has more bullshit than Malenia. And she just pulls out like a crazy second stage. And yeah, she's just a piece of shit. I hate her. Yeah, good luck fighting her. I know I had one of my buddies like beat her first try, which I couldn't believe. It's kind of insane. But yeah, I heard people didn't have too much trouble with Rellana. I don't know how, because I really fucking hated this bitch. I had a strength build, and just having, you know, Guts' sword just swinging at that bitch while she just like outdexes you basically, and she just pokes you to death, and she has so much reach and so much like range, and yeah, her attacks are just, her combos are just insane. She has like a freaking like super slash and like just a flurry of attacks she can do, and yeah, she's so agile too as well, so she's very hard to get around. And yeah, she's the one I had the most trouble with in this DLC. And then I think after that I fought the Dancing Beast next. Yeah, the Dancing Beast was another enemy that I actually beat it first try. I didn't find too much difficulty with it. I think that's technically the first boss you're supposed to verse. Yeah, I just, you know, use my mimic. Ain't nothing wrong with using a mimic, by the way. I hate people that are just, you know, elitist and be like, oh, you used a mimic, how dare you? It's like, no, it's part of the game. You know, it's a mechanic that, you know, FromSoft wants you to use, and by all needs, I'm gonna use anything at my disposal to get through this fucking DLC, because there are some stupid and bullshit things you have to go through. So yeah, I'll use any advantage. Yeah, so yeah, Dancing Lion, he kind of has like elements. He had like a frost breath. He had like other stuff. He had lightning, wind attacks. He just gets in the air. He's kind of crazy. He has a very cool like moveset. His area is kind of his arena, I would say, like getting to his arena as well is kind of aids to get to. But besides that, it's really cool. Really cool boss. Just wish it was a little I guess stronger, or, you know, had more to offer, because I feel like it's kind of like a whatever boss. So yeah, I think my third boss was Messmer, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously there's other like bosses like the dragons around the areas. I don't really count them as bosses. They're just kind of like encounters. Yeah, you fight a lot of them. The Ghost Flame Dragon, there's like 2 of them I think in the game, or 3, I'm not sure. Yeah, you fight them, they're like whatever, they're kind of annoying. There's also like a lot of other like dungeon bosses I fought. I can't really remember their names, but yeah, you'll fight them around. So yeah, technically I'm going by the main bosses order. I guess you can also count the furnace golems as bosses, but I don't really see them as bosses. I only like the fact that you can throw like these big cracked pots at them, like at the furnace, like, you know, where they're burning on the head, like the Wickerman. You can just basically just chuck one at them and they'll be dead, or they'll take a lot of damage, and it'll be so much easier to handle them. Really cool to find that out while you're playing the game. Definitely use it to your advantage, because yeah, they are quite quite a lot of time to kill. They take like 5-10 minutes to really, you know, get them down. You have to like hit their legs, and they have to get literally staggered like 3 times, and then they fall to the ground so you can do like an actual visceral attack. Yeah, so after I killed Rellana, I think I went straight to Messmer, and Messmer's area was pretty cool. I like the verticality of his like his castle. There's like a lot of books and stuff there, like tablets. It's really cool. It's a really nice designed area. I like getting to like the top of it. Yeah, Messmer was amazing. Actually, I do think Messmer was probably my favorite boss like design. I think he just looks amazing. I always thought he looked cool from even the trailers and all the like promotional stuff from Shadow of the Erdtree. And it's pretty cool. Once you beat him, you get his abilities and his spear and his armor set, which is pretty cool. I love it. I just love like the snake like dragon look on it. It just the armor goes hard. He goes hard. His fucking boss fight's kind of crazy. I didn't take too long on him. I think I had like maybe 5 or 10 tries on him. I heard people, you know, took it longer to beat him. He was, yeah, definitely one of the harder bosses. His second stage is amazing as well. His transformation just goes all out. He just turns into like a giant like snake serpent, and he just goes hard. I think he has some of the best voice acting actually in all the games. I love the voice of Messmer. I think he did a great job, whoever played his part, and yeah, he's just one of the cooler bosses of this game, and I just loved his design. Yeah, but fighting him was a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie. Literally, when you're getting obliterated by his combos, it's literally just flames in your face. You can't really see what's going on. He has like a 7-hit combo attack. It's really insane. There's a grab attack. There's like a one-shot attack he does if he gets you, and it's insane. Yeah, he's a pretty insane boss. But yeah, overall I loved him, and yeah, he was one of my favorite bosses of this game. Oh, actually, I think I beat the hippo before Messmer. So yeah, obviously you have to beat the hippo boss before Messmer. So yeah, the hippo boss was kind of whatever. I wasn't a fan of him. I didn't like. He was kind of. I think I beat him first try, or I beat him like in 2 tries or 3. He was a whatever boss to me. He didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like his design. He was just like a porcupine hippo thing. Like it was really weird. He was more annoying than fun. So yeah, definitely a boss I didn't like. Definitely could have improved or put something better there instead. But yeah, definitely a unique looking creature. He just kind of goes crazy. He's a big hippo. He just bites and gets spikes and goes crazy. So yeah, he's just whatever to me. Oh my god, there's also another like optional like bear fight that you can do. It's the red bear, the giant red bear. He's like on the way to Rellana's like area. Holy shit, fuck that bear. That bear was a piece of shit. That thing was so strong, like stronger than any bear. I think that's probably the most like crazy bear I've ever fought against in Elden Ring. Yeah, prepare your cheeks for that fight because he will destroy you. Right after I did Messmer and all that, I went straight to, I think, Commander Gaius. Holy shit, fuck this boss. So yeah, Commander Gaius is one of the bosses that are gonna absolutely make you mauled. He has such a stupid charge attack. Like no matter how you roll, you do not get iframes when he's charging you. And once you enter his arena, he just straight up charges at you, and there's nothing you can do. You'll summon your mimic, you'll be half health, you regen, and then you take 1 roll. He's still gonna hit you no matter what. There's a way of cheesing him by using the wall method. I'd recommend using any type of like cheat against this dude because fuck this boss. This boss is a piece of shit. I died to him probably like 10 times. I was actually mauling fighting this guy. He's just not a well-designed boss. He's just a piece of shit. His attacks are just so bullshit. Like there's just so much stuff he does that just makes it so unfair to fight him that it just doesn't make it fun. Like he was just not a good boss. I will say though, the weapon you can get from him is actually amazing. It's like a little thrusting like piercing sword or like lance. It's really cool. That's probably one of the best weapons of the DLC. Literally you just spin to win. It's just kind of crazy. You turn into like this little cyclone thing and you go crazy with it. It's pretty cool. Really cool weapon that you can get from him. I don't recommend getting the ash or his like spell or whatever, or his thingy. Kind of sucks. It's just like a gravity thing. It's whatever. So yeah, once I got done with Commander Gaius, I think I did the quest line for like the big finger boss thing. You'll go to the Cathedral of Metyr. You do his quest line. You'll end up fighting this like cool finger boss. It's like such a really cool finger boss, honestly. Yeah, Metyr, Mother of Fingers, is just a weird looking boss, honestly. Just amalgamation of fingers, and it's like a big old fat thing, and it can summon like those little hands too as well. It's just a really interesting boss design. I just loved it. One of my favorite bosses to fight in all of Elden Ring. It's one of the most like cool looking bosses you'll fight in all of Elden Ring and all of the Souls games. In fact, actually, it's just the way you get to the arena, the style of it, just the way it fights. Like it's basically this like finger like abomination. Its purpose was like giving birth to like the big fingers in the game. And yeah, it's just a cool looking creature. It's kind of ugly looking. Yeah, it's more of like a Bloodborne looking creature. It definitely like looks otherworldly. It just doesn't look natural. Like it feels like it doesn't belong here, but it's it's here. Really cool boss. I love the like black hole it causes, like the way it teleports, the way it floats into the sky. It's just awesome. I just loved it. Can be quite annoying if you don't know like its pattern, obviously, with like its beam attack and some other like some crazy supernova abilities it does. It's really cool though. I really love the boss, and yeah, definitely one of the better bosses from the game. The arena is also very cool too. Very unique arena. So yeah, definitely do this quest line to fight it. Definitely one of the highlights of the DLC. Yeah, another crazy thing I need to talk about this DLC is finding out what's inside the jars. Oh my god, they are some of the most horrific things you'll see in all FromSoft's games. Like, I was just so disturbed, you know, seeing these like freaking freakish fleshy creatures come out of it and just, you know, be inside those jars. It's just insane to see. Really changes my outlook on like the jar people and all that in this DLC. Really freaky, but very cool addition to the game. Now, one of my favorite boss fights of this, probably my favorite boss fight, was Bayle the Dread. Getting to his area, just that whole lightning, you know, mountainous area that's just there, just seeing the scenery around, the lightning going on, and just the craziness getting to him. You'll fight like a lot of dragons there. There's like a fight between 2 dragons you see before getting to him, and it's some of the most epic shit you've ever seen in your life. I died to like the dragons like 2 or 3 times when they're fighting each other because I tried to intervene too early, so I just let them fight out and joined in after. And yeah, some of the coolest stuff you'll see in all of Elden Ring. Yeah, then you'll get closer to Bayle. There's like one more dragon you fight. He's one of like the lightning dragons, the red lightning dragons, the Senesax dragon, the ancient dragon one. Fuck that one. He's such a piece of shit before you get to Bayle. Yeah, honestly, I had more trouble fighting that fucking dragon than Bayle himself. That just goes to show how stupid and obnoxious that boss fight is. But yeah, once you get to Bayle, you know, climbing up the mountain, getting to the peak, getting to Grace before. Make sure you do Igor's questline, as I think is his name. He'll be like moaning on the ground somewhere in like the land, and you just gotta do his questline, and you'll finally get to Bayle, and he'll want to like get his revenge out for him. Like he's literally like Bayle's #1 hater. It's so awesome to see. Yeah, not Igor, Igon. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you do Igon's questline before you get to Bayle. It's definitely worth it. He'll help you in the fight. Bayle's #1 hater. It's the funniest thing when you get to see him fight alongside you in the arena once you get to Bayle. It's the funniest shit, man, and he's awesome. He's definitely my favorite NPC from the DLC, and one of my favorites now from all of FromSoft's games. So yeah, Bayle's fight was insane. Absolute 10 out of 10. Loved it. It's enough difficulty to where it's a challenge, and enough like epicness to where it's just you're in awe of like what you're fighting against. I don't think I died to him a single time and I was upset. I actually enjoyed dying to him. That's how I know a boss is awesome, when I actually enjoy fighting it and dying to him and just trying to learn, you know, what they're doing, what their moveset is, and just how their design is. And honestly, Bayle is one of the craziest looking bosses too. He's literally like a half-dead dragon. He looks like a chicken, honestly. He looks like a raw chicken to me. He has like his limbs are kind of cut up. He kind of looks like he shouldn't be there, and he's just like being decaying for like a long time, and no one's taking him out. But here we are with Igon, and just, you know, it's just amazing. I used the some dragon scale like katana that you use against him. It's really powerful against him. Has a really cool weapon art where you just slash in the air with its attack, and it just does so much damage to him. And it's just so awesome getting to fight Bayle in that sequence when you're going back and forth with him and his lightning attacks and his crazy, you know, move sets. Yeah, he has a lot of range. Be careful with Bayle. He has like a lot of like lightning, flame, and just a lot of cancerous attacks. But he's really fun to fight against, especially when you get to his second stage. His second stage is probably the most epic thing you'll see in this DLC. It's just literally him flying in the air with his wings and going crazy. It's so awesome. I loved it so much. And yeah, my favorite fight by far. I wish there was more of him. I wish he had a third stage if that was even possible. I wish he would have gotten the third stage, because there is a 3-stage boss in this fucking DLC, and I'll tell you, it's a piece of shit. But anyways, yeah, Bayle's awesome. I'd love to fight him again. My favorite boss by far, and probably all of Elden Ring, actually. I think he's my favorite boss fight, DLC and base game included. Literally just a living nuke, just ready to like AC 130 your ass. It's awesome. He's such an awesome boss. Now let's talk about the Putrescent Knight. Not a fan of this boss, honestly. I think the Made in Heaven type boss here, like from JoJo's, you know, Made in Heaven. that's how I associate with this boss now. He's basically a Bloodborne guy with the horse down here, like with all the like slop he makes, or the sludge. He's just he's a piece of shit, man. Fuck this boss. I did not like him at all. His weapon and his like art that you get from him is really good. But yeah, besides that though, I was not a fan of fighting him. I thought he was very like very whatever to me. I don't know, I just didn't like the whole like giant arena for him, and the way he does his attacks. He does like a swipe and a spiral attack with you and his blade. He was just annoying. He wasn't hard per se, but you know, he had some like bullshit to him. I mean, a lot of the bosses just have bullshit to them, and this guy, I don't know, I just didn't like Yeah, so back on the subject of the Abyssal Woods, I want to talk about the Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Wow, what a like scenery of his like area, and just getting to him and just seeing his cutscene play when he rises up from his like decrepit form, and like when you whip his ass in the first stage, like once you see the boss and seeing like the flame frenzy head, it's insane. Love it. I think this has such a cool look to it, and yeah, definitely a hard boss to fight against for sure. He has very delayed attacks and a lot of like range with frenzy. He does like this like frenzy like charge at you, and it just causes this huge explosion, and it's insane. But honestly, he is one of the more unique looking bosses. He has such a cool attack. There's one attack where he literally will lunge at you with his spear or his sword and just plunge it into your head, and then like cause spines to come out of it. It's really cool. And yeah, he can be very tough if you don't know what you're doing. Thankfully I had my mimic with me. It took me a couple tries to kill him, but yeah, definitely a fun boss. No complaints here. He was awesome. And when he gets to his like second phase, he just goes even crazier. And yeah, crazy boss. And yeah, so now we're gonna talk about Romina, Saint of the Bud. This boss fight was pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I didn't even use my mimic on this fight because she really wasn't too tough. I actually first tried her. She was just, you know, a big old scorpion, you know, dual scorpion thing, centipede looking creature with like a female like head, or yeah, it's weird, like a centipede scorpion hybrid. Crazy looking boss. I thought she'd be a lot stronger, but she really wasn't. I like her design. Her arena is like pretty cool too, seeing all the rot and everything. Yeah, I had fun fighting against her. Just wish she was a little stronger. She's kind of like the last boss you fight before you get to, you know, the final main, you know, dish of the DLC, the piece of shit you have to fight. Yeah, she's cool. She's like a mixture of Quailag. She's like the Quailag of Elden Ring's DLC, you know. I will say getting to her area through like the green like area is so fucking AIDS. I hate that area so much. I fucking hate that green area. Yeah, I had more trouble fighting like the knights before her encounter than actually fighting this boss, so yeah. Fuck this game. All right, now let's talk about the Scadu tree avatar, the Skibidi tree avatar. Holy shit, fuck this boss. The Shadow tree avatar is just a piece of garbage. I hate this. I hate the fact that this boss has 3 phases, man. He has like this like crazy charge attack he does like 3 times at you, just side sweeping everything. He's not hard per se, he's just annoying. Like he just throw these like thorns at you, like this like thorn attack, and it's so fucking hard to dodge. He does so much bleed damage, and yeah, it can be quite annoying. Yeah, he's just kind of unpredictable, but if you hit the head of like the flower, like you're pretty much good. That's where you do all your damage from. But yeah, he can just be annoying to fight against. And 3 stages, yeah. Seriously, fucking 3 stages to fight this piece of shit. Like I hate every 3-stage boss in all of the games. Like I hated Sister Freed. I hated Demon of Hatred. I hated this fucking boss. And I don't know if I'm missing any other 3-stage bosses, but fuck all those fights and fuck this boss. Yeah, you're just fighting a stupid dinky flower, like a shadow flower that's like super powerful, and yeah, and 3 stages. 3 stages. Don't forget. Anyways, there's also one last like gank encounter or like enemy encounter you have to do, which is with the knight Leda, I believe, and her squad. So yeah, the OST does go hard in this fight here. Absolutely great OST. Yeah, you'll summon the knight Ansbach. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure. Yeah, he'll help you with this fight. And yeah, you just challenge Needle Knight Leda, and you have to fight Moore and another dude, and like you have to fight Freya too. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of sad too. Little gank that you got to do at the end. And let me tell you, it can be a bit tough if you don't have your mimic and your NPC companion to help you, because it's literally just a full fucking crazy squad fight. I only felt bad for Moore because Moore was my homie. I wore his armor till the end, so I loved him. Alright, so now let's talk about the final boss of this DLC. And yes, it is the man himself, the Chad. Previous favorite boss of Elden Ring, Radahn. Now, I do see why people don't like that it's Radahn. It's kind of like out of nowhere, you know. It's not really built up to being Radahn. But I don't really care. Like story-wise, like yeah, obviously may not make the most sense. Maybe, you know, they could have added someone else. But honestly, I think it does fit. I think it's pretty fit to fight Radahn here. There is explanation once you fight him after, like why he was there. You know, you get the real reasoning of why Miquella chose him and what like Melania said to him during the fight. So a lot of like lore stuff was like revealed here. So I really loved getting to fight, you know, Radahn at like a stronger phase than what he was before. And he goes hard in this fucking fight, man. Holy shit, he goes hard. He just goes all out, and it's just awesome getting to see Radahn again and in a better form than what he was before, because I don't think this is prime Radahn, this is just young Radahn, so it's really cool to see than the Scarlet Rotted form we fought in the base game, because holy shit, he is so strong. I was really contemplating my build here for about like a whole hour. I grinded out. I literally molded so much against him. You're like he just hits you for so much, man. It's crazy, and he has such a long combo too as well. But yeah, on my first try I actually got into the second stage, so I got to see like what his second stage looks like, and oh my goodness, this guy goes crazy. Especially when Mikola like joins in on the fight. Fuck Mikola, by the way. Yeah, he just goes even crazier. And that's where I really lost it all. I said I sacrificed and I chose to make another build because I could not fucking deal with this guy with just my greatsword. It was just not cutting it. Especially having, you know, my mimic die in the second stage, having my other NPC not even help me and really, I mean, because if you summon Ansbach, he doesn't really do much, to be honest. I do like what he tells like Radahn, where, you know, you're using, because technically they're using Moog's body for him, and he just like shit talks him. He's like Radahn, take that armor off. That body doesn't belong to you or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. At the end of the day, Moog beat the allegations. You fight a femboy with Radahn, and yeah, he's fucking strong. The cutscenes go hard though. I'm not gonna lie, the cutscenes go hard. And fuck Mikola, Griffith ass. Yeah, so yes, I could say he'll get like this ginormous AoE attack of like just light beams. It's so hard to dodge. You literally cannot dodge it. You just have to tank it and hope to God you don't die. And there's also a grab attack Mikola will do now when Radahn gets close to you, and you'll get like bewitched. And yeah, it's insane. I think after like 2 times or 3 times you'll get like hexed, and then you'll like be like seduced by Mikola. You'll be literally Mikolested, and you'll just stay like crouched or on your knees, like showing your devotion to Mikola. So yeah, you basically get simped. Yeah, you become a simp for him. Fucking hell, femboy. But yeah, crazy boss. I ended up beating it with a finger shield and a pokey, like Uchigatana, I think what I used, or some spear. Yeah, I just decided to poke and tank, and yeah, it worked out for me because my greatsword build was not working. I tried it like 20-30 times, and I just could not like get through with my build. So yeah, this boss makes you rethink everything. Definitely the hardest, the DLC, and arguably the base game. So yeah, that was my Elden Ring experience. I thought Radahn was an awesome final boss. Loved it. I love this DLC. There's a lot of great things about it. There's also a lot of other things I could talk about, especially like the soundtracks and the story and lore. But yeah, I definitely want to talk about the just everything about this game, just art design, everything, just absolutely beautiful. Loved it. I loved every area. Every area has such a unique feel to it. It's still crazy to me that people think like this game doesn't look good, like graphically. I think this game is one of the most beautiful games ever created. It doesn't have the highest fidelity, but it is just a gorgeous game to look at, and the DLC just takes it up a notch and really showcases how amazing and talented the level designers are at FromSoft. Yeah, that was the boss talk. I loved most of the bosses here. Some of them were kind of garbage, but overall, I thought it was a solid run of bosses you could do. Of course, there's bullshit in it, just like any other FromSoft game would be. You know, there's always bullshit to it. So I think people complaining about, you know, the difficulty and all that, just, you know, they just got to get good. At the end of the day, just get good. And yeah, if you really love FromSoft games, you know, you won't really bitch that much about it. You already know what to expect. You know, like you expect difficulty, you're gonna get difficulty. Now, do I think this is the best DLC FromSoft has created? No, I still like the old Hunters DLC the most. I think that's that, and the Artorias and the Abyss DLC is still the best from FromSoft. I don't know. I'm more of a fan of the linear like Dark Souls games, so I still think this is still a phenomenal DLC. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, and yeah, it still definitely stands on its own, and it's some of the best Souls gameplay you'll find in all the games. I did have performance and issues with the game as well. I really don't like there's a lot of stuttering on this game. Like I had so much stuttering, like it happened on stream as well when I was playing this game, and it just, oh my god, I stuttered so much. And I wish I mean, this happened with Elden Ring on launch as well. There's a lot of stutter issues, but a lot of that stuff will get fixed. Hopefully it gets fixed, because it is honestly unbearable when you're like skipping frames in the middle of a fight. I think it's happened to me with like Messmer, Radahn, and I think about like every boss had like a stutter. So yeah, I hope they fix that. Besides that, that's pretty much the only optimization they needed to do. Nothing was broken, nothing was too buggy. There's definitely a lot of content here. There's a lot of replay value, especially with all the weapons you get and all the like ways of fighting that you can do with the base game and the DLC now with the new weapons. Is just endless. You can do a lot of combinations now. It's really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a great DLC. Try it out for yourself. Let me know what you guys thought about it. You know, what do you guys think about the DLC and what it had to offer? Do you think it lived up to the hype? You know, for the 2 years wait we had to do, the amount of you know, content we got from the DLC. I think we got a pretty, you know, substantial amount of content for like the 2 years of wait we had to do for the DLC. Crazy that it was 2 years of wait just for this DLC to drop. And I don't know if there'll be another one. I hope there is, but we'll see. This DLC is definitely going to be a success, so who knows what FromSoft will do from here. So yeah, if you like the video, do leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll try posting more videos soon, guys. I definitely have a Metal Gear video I'm still cooking with, and I just want to get my ideas and thoughts and, you know, my opinion about the Elden Ring DLC of Shadow of the Erdtree. So yeah, loved it, and I hope there's more to come. That's it, guys. Y'all have a good one, and take care.